Bhagavatam. We had completed till verse 49. So, just to give you a small recap, Sri Krishna is advising Arjuna to cut off the head of Ashwatthama because of the heinous acts that he has done of killing the children of Draupadi. I think you understand this. So Arjuna says, no, I think I should go and ask my wife and my brothers. So he takes Ashwatthama, he binds him and takes him to meet his wife. When his wife, that is Draupadi, sees Ashwatthama bound, she says some words which are, he is a Brahmana's son and he is a Brahmana himself, so he should not be treated like this. Alright? So they come from a particular place where the knowledge of the divine is there with them. So because of that, we cannot do this kind of actions with them. So punishment cannot be given in this form. You cannot cut off the head of this person. Now when she says these words, now she has been endorsed by her husband. So now not only Arjuna says, yes, we should not cut off his head, but including Yudhishthir also accepts it because he understands the Dharma. Now here the problem lies in how Dharma gets interpreted. See, understand one thing. Everybody interprets Dharma in the way they feel like. Did you get the point? Dharma is interpreted by people because of certain reasoning. So today we are going to do a major part of how Dharma gets interpreted. So he is left. That means they had bound him, so they let go of Ashwatthama, but he is standing over there. And Yudhishthir endorses this, saying the words that this is in accordance to the principle of religion and are justified, glorious, full of mercy and equity and without duplicity. So we have to let go of this person even though he has come and killed my children. Alright. So now let us continue from the next verse, that is today's satsang. We will start. We are doing Srimad Bhagavatam. This is Canto 1, Chapter 7, verse 50 onwards. Nakul and Sahadev, the younger brothers of the king, and Satyaki, Arjuna, the personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, son of Devaki, and the ladies and other all unanimously agreed with the king. Now here are literally everybody is in favor of what Yudhishthir has said. So what Yudhishthir is saying is that you have to always follow the path of the Dharma. And he has given in the verse 49 that it is in accordance with the principles of religion and it is justified because he is a person who has done something wrong in the material world of cutting off the heads of the 5 children when they were fast asleep. He has done something wrong, but the Dharma says otherwise. Now who is the person who is the follower of this Dharma? Dharmaraj himself, isn't it? Wouldn't you say that? So you will find that here Yudhishthir is also giving his reasoning. His reasoning is that we should not be doing anything to Ashwatthama. The justification is this, that according to the principles of religion, it is justified that he is a Brahmana's son, he should be let go. And we have to show our mercy. And this is agreed by literally everybody else, including Nakul, Sahadev, Satyaki, Arjuna himself, everybody. But there are 2 people who are totally against this. We will see one who is it. But Bhima, that is the next verse, however, disagreed with them and recommended killing this culprit, who in an angry mood had murdered sleeping children for no purpose and for neither his nor his master's interest. Now here you will find that Bhimsen is very clear in his understanding. He says this person has done something wrong. How can somebody go and chop off the heads of young children? They are not actually young. They had also gone into the war, if you remember. So the idea should be that you should not be doing this kind of heinous acts. Right? So Bhimsen is very angry with Ashwatthama. He says, no, whatever may be the case, we have to chop off the head of Ashwatthama because he has done something terrible. Already he is bound and brought over there. But because of the king is definitely their elder brother, he says, okay, let him go. So he is allowed to go. Now let us see, Bhimsen says these words, he cannot be let loose. You have to go and chop his head. Now there is another person who is Almighty God himself standing over there. So what does he say? So we are doing verse 52 where he says, Chaturbhuja. Chaturbhuja means four-armed. Remember, Shri Krishna is two-armed, four-armed, and you have also seen him in the Bhagavad Gita where he is the Virat Swarup, many arms. So here he is the four-armed person. When we say the four-armed person, the God who is four-armed is Mahavishnu himself. Okay? Sri Krishna in his original form, which is the Goloka form, he is with two arms. Four arms is different, like that. So let us say what he says. So Sri Krishna, after hearing the words of Bhima, Draupadi and others, saw the face of his dear friend Arjuna and began to speak as if smiling. What does he say? Sri Krishna said, a friend of a Brahmana is not to be killed, but he is the aggressor. He must be killed. If he is the aggressor, he must be killed. All these rulings are there in the scriptures. And you should act accordingly. You have to fulfill your promise to your wife, and you must also act to the satisfaction of Bhimsen and me. Now here there is a dilemma. What is the dilemma over here? The dilemma is the scriptures are there on one side and Dharma is there on the other side. So when we have these two things happening simultaneously, there is a dichotomy. You have to understand in this world, there are lots of times in your own life also you will come across this. According to Dharma, what should I do? And according to, whatever is happened, what is the main thing that I should be doing? Have you not faced these kind of situations in your life? Your own parents who might have raised you, Now, what they are doing to you may be contrary to what the society wants or what the Dharma says so. Sometimes you are literally forced into some kind of a marriage or you are told to do certain things. Think about it. As a very young person, let us say you are just 16 years old and you have your ideals. Your ideals is, I don't want to pay bribes. I want to be very, a very straightforward person. I want to win in this world by doing my studies. I want to become a graduate. These are your dreams and this is how you are. And here you find your own parents are bribing people so that you can get admission in some school and college and whatever. Does it go against your vein? Naturally. There are lots of times when you are facing these kind of situations. You want certain certificates. That fellow is not willing to give you unless and until you bribe him. Have you come across these kind of situations? There are so many instances where you are driving on the road and maybe, by mischance or whatever, you cross one signal, something happens and you are fined. At that time, what is the first instinct of yours? Can I pay bribe? Isn't that how you think? Now, these are the things which are going against the law. There is a basic law in our world. That law is which is set by this entire world. Say this is how you have to be. And on the other side, there is something which says, your heart says so. You cannot do this kind of a thing. This is not a done thing. I should not be doing this kind of nonsensical acts. Isn't that what your heart also says? Because according to you, that is going against your own ethics and principles. Isn't it not going against your ethics and principles? How do you pay bribes? Okay, there is a traffic police and you want to pay bribes? It goes against it. So what happens over here is we have to always ensure that we are following the path where the answers are very, very clear. Got it? Now let us see what Sri Krishna is telling. What is Sri Krishna saying? He says there are only two people who are for the punishment. That is me, I am the Lord Almighty, and there is Bhimsen, that is Bhima. He says that you have to punish this guy. Whereas all of y'all are on the other side. You people are saying that he should not be punished. Ashwatthama should not be punished. Okay? Now everybody knows, actually Arjuna himself knows that he is talking to Sri Krishna. Isn't it? He has given him the entire idea that I am Sri Krishna. I am the mighty person, who rules this entire world. He knows that. And yet he is going against God. Yet he is going against scriptures which are mentioned something. There is a very big question for him over here. All the rulings are in the scriptures. There is a scripture and the rulings are very clear. Now I want you to understand, scriptures are literally carved in golden letters in stone. Have you heard of Moses and the tablets that he got on the mount? Okay, he got it, no? The scriptures are very clear in what he said. The 10 commandments, as we say in English, right? It's mentioned over there. Like that, we have our Vedas. Is it written over there? Yes. Is it also written that there are lots of things which are not to be followed and to be followed? Like that, it's written. Certain things like sati and all which are discussed. Are you for it or against it? Something where you are supposed to bow down to all the elders, even if they are very bad people. Your own parents, your own relatives may be literally villains in your life. They may be forcing you to do something. Maybe they got you married to somebody. In your own world, are you also going to get upset because of this or no? Is it going against the scriptures? Yeah. Let us come to one more thing. Something which is called Swadharma. What is Swadharma? Swadharma also means that you are following a certain trait, a certain family, a certain religion, a certain kind of a instance where, let us say, entire family of yours are farmers. Your forefathers are farmers. And you have become an IT professional. Okay? You have become an information technology person. You have become an engineer. You have gone abroad. Is it against the Swadharma? So there is something which you need to understand. Why are things in this world which is basically for and against? Why does this happen? And that is the reason why Sri Krishna over here says this very clearly. He says, all the rulings are there in the scriptures. The scriptures are very clearly defining what is to be done and what is not to be done. And you should act accordingly. You should be acting as per the principles. Think about it. We have the, that Bharatiya Nyas or whatever, the Indian Penal Code and so on and so forth. The current new names are there. Are you supposed to go exactly as per the law over there or no? The law is given over there. Isn't Constitution also a basic law which is written somewhere? Everything is written in the Constitution. Are you supposed to follow the Constitution to the T? How many people in this world actually follow Constitution? Nobody follows. Including whether it is the criminal code practices or the company law or all this. How many companies are paying bribes nowadays? Aren't they? Have you not seen that companies like Apple and all these big organizations like Google and all have paid court so much amount of money because they bent the law? Do you get the point? So the law is written and everybody bends it to their own, convenience, the way they want it. So that is the reason why Krishna is giving an understanding over here that if the law is written, you cannot bend it. You have to follow everything as per the law. Why are you going against the law? He says, you have to fulfill your promise to your wife. You have given a promise to your wife. What is the promise that he has given to his wife? That he will chop off the head of the perpetrator. That means Ashwatthama's head has to be chopped off. Right? And the second thing is, you must act according to the satisfaction of Bhimsen and me. So here Sri Krishna is saying, we are also very important people over here, and we have given a ruling that you have to chop off the head of this person. And you have given a promise also. So these are two things which are going against you. And in the scriptures also it is written, all the rulings are in the scriptures. So how can you say that I am not going to do this? Now this is a very difficult situation for Arjuna. And let us see what is the solution. So we will move to the next verse, verse 55. Just then, Arjuna could understand the motive of Shri Krishna by his equivocal order, and thus with his sword, he severed both the hair and the jewel from the head of Ashwatthama. Now this is something which happens to him. What does he do? Ashwatthama is standing in front of him. The thought comes to Arjuna. Arjuna says, yes, of course, I have to follow my Gurudev also. His Guru, the spiritual master and the highest of the divine, is Sri Krishna, who is standing over there. I have to follow what he says. It has to be very clearly followed. And even my elder brother, Bhimsen, is saying the same thing. Why should we not follow that? And yet on the other side, my heart says that I have to let go of Ashwatthama. Plus, my wife has also given the same verdict. She is saying, let him go because he is a Brahmana's son. So why should I do this kind of a heinous act? Is he very clear in his understanding? There are two sides to it, correct? On one side he has given Krishna, Balram, Bhima, what is he saying? And on the other side, his wife and the whole crowd on one side, including his own heart, which says that you have to let him go. So whom is he supposed to follow? So at that moment in time, knowledge comes to him. And he says, yes, of course, now I understand. So he takes his sword and chops off the head, the hair. You understand? There is a hair on top of his head. He chops off the mane and he removes the crown jewel. There is a jewel which Ashwatthama was wearing. Do you know this or no? Everybody, I think, knows by now. In all these serials, you have seen him put one jewel over here, isn't it? You have seen it, isn't it? Now, this is called the crown of the head. Have you seen? This is called the crown of the head. And the jewel over here is called the crown jewel. You have seen even the Queen of England also wearing a crown with a jewel in it. Over here somewhere or over here somewhere. So these are called crown jewels. Same thing in all the ancient times also. There is a jewel and there is a crown. So these are the two things. So what does he do? He removes it with his sword. We will come to the spiritual explanation after we finish this. Okay, don't worry. So we go to the next verse. He had already lost his bodily luster due to infanticide, and now, moreover, having lost the jewel from his head, he lost even more strength. Thus he was unbound and driven out of the camp. Now here, what happens is, once Arjuna chops off his hair, there is a similar story, if you remember. In that story is of Samson, isn't it? Samson is that mighty warrior and he has his power in his hair. Now see, everything is the way it is, but interpretation is where everybody goes wrong. Now what do we do in interpretation? We take literally everything as a meaning. Now think about it. Arjuna understood. The word Arjuna understood very clearly says he understood the spiritual principles over there. Alright? It is not saying that he is going literally over there the way things are. He understood the spiritual principles. What are the principles that go into decision making? And that is the reason why he has taken the decision of cutting off the hair of Ashwatthama and removing the crown jewel and then letting him go. But remember, Ashwatthama has already done such a dangerous and a heinous act of killing the children. When you do this kind of an act against the firmament, against the society, against people, you are already a sinner. Right? You are already a sinner because you have done something wrong. Now tell me something, can you rectify it once you have done this action? Can you put the heads back again? No. Even God himself will not do it. Isn't there a beautiful story where Arjuna promises the same thing? Yeah? So we will also learn about this story. There is a farmer, he promises the farmer that nothing is going to go wrong with your son. Okay? And he builds a very big wall around his son. And nobody can enter it is what he promises. You can't promise this kind of a thing because death cannot be promised like that. And resurrection also cannot be promised. It is the Lord himself who can resurrect. Nobody else can resurrect another person. Please remember this. Nobody can save you from death. You understand? If death is destined, nobody in this world can save you from death. Destiny says you are going to die, you are anyway going to die, come whatever may. Either this way or that way. But there is always the caveat. The Lord himself decides that I don't want to kill this person. I want to save him. And that is a time he can be saved. Please remember this. Only Shri Krishna can do this. Nobody else can do this. Remember, he is the person who brought the dead son of his own guru back to life, isn't it? You remember this? He had gone to the netherworlds. Sandipani's son. So he goes to the netherworlds and brings his son back. You heard that. Again, the same case, when Sri Krishna was born, do you remember the other children who were sacrificed before he was born? So all those children are there, isn't it? So he goes and he talks about it. The idea is that only the Lord himself can do it, nobody else. That is why even in the Bible you will find that when Lazarus is told to come out of his grave, doesn't he come out? See, an ordinary person cannot do this kind of a things. Okay? So you can find these very rare instances where the Lord himself is there. Narasimha Saraswati has also called that person back to life, isn't it? In the same manner, you will find that there are many a times the Lord himself, incognito, nobody will know he is the Lord. So only Sri Krishna can grant this kind of a things. But Arjuna or any other person cannot grant. That is the reason why we have to follow the scriptures, but the scriptures have to be spiritually interpreted. You cannot interpret the scriptures the way you want it. And that is the reason why Arjuna takes this call and chops off the hair and the crown jewel. And that is how Ashwatthama is then, he lost the jewel on his head and he lost all his strength. Thus he was unbound and driven out of the camp. Now, the next verse says, 57, cutting the hair from his head deprived him of his wealth, and driving him from the residence are the prescribed punishments for the relatives of the Brahmanas. There is no injunction for killing the body. And the last verse over here says, therefore sons of Pandu and Draupadi, overwhelmed with grief, performed the proper rituals for the dead bodies of their relatives. So you will find that there is a clear understanding. Cutting of the hair, okay, of the Brahmana. See, remember, he is a Brahmana. Do you know the Brahmanas have that small thing over here, right? That small piece of hair which is there, it's tied, that is equally important to them. it identifies them of belonging to a certain, standing. They are the knowers of Brahma, they are the followers of the scriptures and all those things you have to understand. Now, when that happens, when you cut off and then you remove the crown jewel, when it is removed, you have lost everything. So depriving him of wealth, okay, that means, remember, his father is Dronacharya, isn't it? So Dronacharya himself is a rich person because he was the Raj Yogi. He has taught all the king's children. And because he has taught all the king's children, what happens? He's got a lot of wealth as well. So that wealth also goes away. Ashwatthama loses his own position as a Brahmana. Now he has to roam this earth. Remember, Ashwatthama is a person who has been given eternal life till the end of time. Till the last day when the earth, when everything collapses, till that time he has been given this particular vardhan that he cannot be killed. Now think about it like this. So he is deprived of all the whatever that perks that come along with the job. What are the perks? That means he has to go away to the jungles. He gets deprived of all those things, right? And then what else is done? And this is the prescribed punishment for the relatives of a Brahmana. There is no injunction for killing the body. Now this is something which we need to understand. So now I will give you the spiritual explanation for this. First and foremost, what is a crown jewel? What is this tuft of hair that we talk about? In India, have you seen that there are lots of people, they go to the holy places and they give donation of their hair? You have heard about this, isn't it? Now when we think, what is this hair that they are donating? See, when you give your hair, wherever that you are, whichever place, then when you are chopping off your hair and giving it as an offering to the Lord, what are you saying to the Lord? You are saying to the Lord that I do not have that status of a human being of a particular caliber on this earth. I am your servant and you tell me what I am supposed to do. Got it? That means you have become literally a person who is serving God. Did you get it or no? There is another way of looking at it. Remember, in one, you remove your hair, don't keep it. That is why most of the people, those who are there, they shave their head, no? Those who are the sannyasis and all, they shave their hair. And then there are other types where they give up all their interest in the bodily parts. Like the hair, starting from the hair. What do? They do not bother about the hair growth. So the hair grows and they don't even comb it. Have you seen? So jatas are formed. You know, dreads in English. You get dreads. So it is not dreads, it is jatas, we call it. So when jata, the hair. So these are two extremes that happen. One is when you chop it off, you are not saying that I belong to this world. I give up my identity. What is it? I give up my identity. So when a disciple comes to the Guru and his hair is completely chopped off, he surrenders to the Guru. When he surrenders to the Guru, he has given up his ego. The mane of hair is the ego. Even a lion has a mane. You know that or you don't know that? Suppose I remove his entire mane. What does he look like? Even when we shave the dog, we remove all his hair. How does he look like? Do you see? He doesn't look like that. Similarly, in a human being also, when you completely become bald over here, when you give up your ego in this world, you have surrendered to the will of God. Then your own identity is decimated. So do you see in the verse 57 where he says, there is no injunction for killing the body. The body belongs to this earth. The body is not yours. This body doesn't belong to you. The body belongs to the Prakriti. It's not your property. So don't even dare call your body the Prakriti or your own body. Okay, because it belongs to Prakriti. It's like taking a loan from her. Okay, I want this bottle so that I can use it. Huh? It's like a refill. You're taking a refill every time. Like that. So you have taken your body as a refill. The bottle doesn't belong to you. It's not your father's property. It's not your property from any angle. So when you take it from Prakriti, Prakriti is just loaning it to you. Loaning this body to you. So when you give up the ownership of the Prakriti, ownership of this body to the Prakriti back again, you have actually performed an action where you no longer own anything. I hope you got this clear. So giving of the mane of the hair means you have given up your entire relationship with the body. So the body is no longer yours. Second thing, what we say as the crown jewel. The crown jewel is a very egoistic piece of nonsense which human beings say. You see, I belong to this caste. Do they say these words? I belong to this category. I am the son of this person. I am the daughter of this person. Everybody has an ego which is so fat. And we carry this crown jewel in our hand, like literally, over here. I am this. Do you know who I am? This is bigger than that other ego of the body. The body ego is one. But the ego of your birth, the ego of your existence, the ego of your father, mother, property, this, that is so big. Do you know who I am? Who are you? You are nobody. But the moment you say, I am the son of this person, you see that Prime Minister of Canada, what was he thinking? I am the son of the earlier Prime Minister, so 10 years I can rule the country. Isn't it? Have you not seen the great dictators of the past? Their children are ruling the country today. Have you not noticed them? Everybody thinks, like, oh, my father was this, so I have to rule the country. Do you know who I am? What is this? Who are you? You are an ordinary person. And yet you have this ego saying that, do you know who I am? These are the two things which are connected to this body of yours. The day you lose this identity of the body as well as the designation of the body, you are nobody. That means you have killed the body. Did you get the point? So killing the body means giving up your ego on one side and the ego of the existence of the body and the ego of your society position. These two things are very, very important. The idea that I am somebody, you know who I am, that is giving up. And the second one is that the crown jewel is the position in the society. And the second one is the body, which you believe belongs to you. It is Prakriti's property. It's not your property at all. So Arjuna takes a very, very right decision of chopping off the hair of Ashwatthama and removing the crown jewel so that he becomes an ordinary person. Nobody knows. So he is going to walk like a dead body, zombie. So Ashwatthama's job is now nothing, just a zombie's job. So he will be walking like a zombie all over the place. He cannot claim his body from any angle. He doesn't have the strength in him to do anything. He is just going to be living for the sake of living. The body is soulless, as we can call it, Literally, there is nothing inside it. So if you were to meet Ashwatthama, he is doing penance even today, right? Today also he is doing the same penance, and that is the reason why he has been given the opportunity. Till the end of time you have to do this. And when you meet Ashwatthama, Ashwatthama will be willing to do anything for you as a penance. And that is the reason why Ashwatthama is seen by many people. Sometimes in the Himalayas and sometimes somewhere. He is willing to be a guide and help you also. That is his penance. And that is the reason why he exists today in this world. So, when you are shorn of the position of the body and the position of the society, your ego is totally demolished and you become a normal person. And that is the biggest hurt that can be given to a man. And that is the reason why he is given this kind of a punishment. Ashwatthama is given this kind of a punishment and he is allowed to go. So Arjuna has not only fulfilled the vows which he has given to his wife, but he is also able to fulfill the command of Sri Krishna and Bhima. And we come to the end of this chapter, chapter 7, where all the children, their last sanskar, their sanskar has to be done. So the entire family gets together over there so that they can perform the last rite ceremonies of the children. So we have come to the end of chapter 7. Tomorrow we will start a new chapter.
Recording stopped.